don't think you can. My mic may or may not be on.
Oh, hello.
I don't know.
Hello. I think it's that one.
Hello.
Hello.
What do you mean that one?
That no.
Both
I don't
of
know.
ours aren't on?
No,
Oh.
they're on, but they're low.
Oh.
I think you did that on purpose, though.
Hello. Oh yeah, they're pretty low. Let's bring them up. Looks like we got Randy and Brian on already joining us. Hey guys, Brian, welcome back to the show.
How do you know?
Because I'm looking at them on
Oh.
here.
Nah.
We have a mystery watcher. Maybe it's me. I can never tell with this stuff. But anyways, if you cannot hear me or anything, let me know in the comment section. But otherwise, I'm going to just keep talking like as if you can hear me. Today, we're going to be talking about the thing that we all dread, social media, and where do we find the time to manage it. Everybody that we talk to, as far as especially with nonprofits, like when I reached out to several nonprofit organizations and asked them, like, what's your biggest pain point in running your organization as far as when it comes to like marketing, communications, fundraising, all that kind of stuff. Every single person, the first thing they brought up was social media, and that they know it's super important. They know it's super valuable. Some even consider it kind of like free advertising kind of thing. But the problem is they just don't have the time to invest in doing it or learning it, or handling it or managing it. They also don't have the funds to hire anyone to run it for them. So that kind of it's just kind of like that black hole for them where they're like, oh man, one day we'll get on this thing. But and that's the same for us too. Like we say the same thing for our own selves. Like we know how important social media is, and we could be doing so much more with it for ourselves. But we just always are like, man, we just don't have the time. But since we do understand your pain, we figured we share with you some of the things that we know, some tools that are pretty inexpensive, that could help you, and some tricks that could make it a little more manageable, just so that you might not be like the greatest at social media, but you'll do enough to be sufficient at it where you're not like wasting this golden opportunity. So we'll get into that shortly. But first, you'll be happy to know that Jamie is eating during the stream, because usually she's hungry and hangry during the stream, and we go, oh, we should have fed you. And now we ran out of time to feed her before, so she's eating now. So she should be nicer to me.
Like an animal.
You said it, not me. But I think it's appropriate that Brian's on here, because Brian, you've missed out on some real gems in the last few weeks with Jamie and her lack of sustenance. But the kind of like what we're doing here is like we know doing this live stream weekly consistently is important, but man, there's times when we're just like, I don't know if we're gonna have time to do it, and somehow, some way, we always find a way to fit it in. And consistency has kind of been the thing that kept us going, as far as we said, okay, every Tuesday at 12:30, with exceptions for those times when we just couldn't do it, but we would specifically plan to have what is that, like a makeup day and stuff. So it wasn't that we go, it's 12:25, let's just cancel today. Like, we refuse to do that. And that's kind of what has helped us stay consistent with this. So same thing with, managing social media. If you can just stick to a consistent, and it could even just be like half an hour once a week kind of thing. That's kind of what I've been relegated to for our pop social medias. Like, I'm trying to increase it, but I'm pretty much just average about a half hour a week that I do social media for us. But I'll share with you a little bit of trick, because people will be like, well, so that means you just post one day? And it's like, no, there's actually a few tricks to the trade that can help you with that. But I know you're eating, Jamie, but I think we realized that the way we get Jamie not to be bored is by letting her talk. So you actually came up with this idea to talk about this subject. I thought it was a great idea because it's
I
something
did?
yeah.
Oh.
But because we actually, when we first started our business, like that was probably a common request for us is,
Social.
yeah, do you guys manage social media accounts and stuff like that? Or when we first started, we actually said yes. So when people heard about us, like, oh, can you do ours and stuff? So it's something that's really common. What are your thoughts as to like why, um, well, why did you think? I guess you don't even remember coming up with this idea, but you obviously
No,
agreed
it's
it's
because you
important.
said that that's what people said.
Mm.
That they're when you talk to people, they said that that's what they have a hard time with.
And what are your thoughts on that? Because I mean, you've studied a lot of social media strategies and stuff too. One for us, but also for our clients and stuff. Um, why do you think it's one important to utilize social media, but why is it so difficult for people to feel like they can actually do anything with it?
I think people, it's not that. I can't move my chair without checking if Emmett's there. I think because people, like, it's important, but it's not like for me, like eating vegetables.
Yeah.
I know I should be eating vegetables, but I would rather eat chocolate.
Right.
And
Social media is
chocolate's
like
like
the
right
vegetable.
there, and it doesn't go bad. My Oreos don't go bad super fast, whereas if I buy like salad,
Yeah,
it's gonna
wilts.
go
Yeah.
bad. But I can still eat my Oreos.
That's such a great analogy because social media is like the vegetable of things to do for nonprofits. It's,
Like you need to,
yeah.
but it's just not the top priority, and it's not the easiest thing when you're not used to it.
And you don't see like an immediate result. It's not like you eat a
Yeah.
vegetable and you're like, I feel fantastic.
Yeah.
Let me eat more. It takes time and it's kind of subtle, the effects, like your blood pressure goes down and stuff. Like I don't know that until I
And
see the
it's
test, right?
actually good. Like once you get on social media and it starts to be fun, then it's like good. Like broccoli with, I don't know, whatever this stuff is that you put on it, but it tastes good.
I put on vegan butter and I didn't tell them it was vegan until they said it was good. And now I've tricked them into eating vegan butter, which I feel probably is healthier because regular butter is probably filled with a lot of bad stuff.
I don't know.
But yeah. Oh, and hey, we got some new viewers today. We got Carrie Albers and Susan Todani is here, and Randy Soriano. So, well, I know you're not new, but it's not usual we see you guys. So, hey, welcome to the stream. If you guys have any questions or comments, please throw them in the chat. I'm monitoring it down here on my phone. But yeah, that's a great point that this is something that's important, but it's not. It's just it's a chore to deal with, and I think it's intimidating too.
Especially
Yeah.
at a small nonprofit, when like you already know that your staff is doing way more jobs than probably they should have to do, because everybody's picking up slack everywhere else. So adding on social media to somebody, I don't know, it's just hard, I think.
And I think too a lot of what has been fed and taught to nonprofits is kind of old, antiquated advice. Because in the past, like early on, we were all told like you gotta be very active on social media. You gotta just keep posting so that you're top of mind, so that you're always on people's feeds. But since then, algorithms from the different social media networks have changed where they don't want people just spamming people's news feeds and stuff. So they actually, will penalize you for posting too much. But, the discussion about these strategies and techniques and stuff don't really come up that often. So for a lot of nonprofits, they're just going off of the old instructions from years ago. And so they're thinking, oh, I don't have the time to be posting several times a day.
I still see that on newer articles where they say like post 3 times a day or whatever. And you don't have to do that. Like, I think it gets people stressed out
Yeah.
that they have to do more. But the more important thing is to post good content.
Yeah.
That's it.
Things that are useful, interesting, or valuable to your audience, because then you'll be rewarded for that, because they'll either like or comment or share. They'll interact with your posts, and
We're
that's when
supposed to talk about making time
I know
for it.
I know. That's why I was trying to wrap it up there. I'm trying to.
Okay.
I don't want to just change it on the fly. I want to transition there. But since we're gonna go ahead and do that anyway, let's just go ahead with how to make time. So one of the quickest things, easiest things that I've done is I just set aside a short amount of time in my schedule, and usually it's like the first thing I do in the morning, because it doesn't require a lot of brain power, I guess. For me, like, I just go on there and I hit send or whatnot. And so what helps is having pre-written posts and stuff too. So as like, people have this misconception that you have to post as it happens, like immediately, like, oh, I just experienced this, I can only post about it right now, I can't post about it tomorrow because then it's too late, and they feel like it's like vegetables, it's going to expire. But that's not actually the case. The majority of the things that I post, pictures and stories of what happened days, sometimes weeks ago. Like, for instance, I'll share like behind the scenes photos of us interviewing somebody, and they don't know that. It doesn't matter to the audience that I'm sharing it like the moment we just interviewed was it Governor Ariyoshi. It's like, last week was such a great experience, we got to interview Governor Ariyoshi, and the story is more interesting than the actual timeliness of it.
So somebody, that a social media person that I follow, says that you don't want to take yourself out of the moment by writing about it right then.
Yeah.
So just take pictures, because so you have the stuff for later. So when stuff is going on, just take the pictures, and then later on you can write the post.
That used to stress me out so much, because I had that mentality of like, oh, I just took the picture, I got to post it now. And like, we would be on a trip.
That's super annoying.
Yeah. And it takes me like 5, 10, 15 minutes to write the post, tag people, find out the location, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's not easy. I don't know how people do it. But I would notice like all the things that were happening as I'm trying to write this post, I'm missing out on. And it really sucks for me. It sucks for her that she's got to sit down there next to me while I'm doing it. And honestly, it didn't really matter that I posted it at that moment or a week later. And at the time when she would tell me that, like, save it for later, she told me this idea of saving it for later. It really was uncomfortable for me at first. I was just like, okay, it makes sense, but I feel like if I don't write about it now, I'm not going to write about it later.
But if you wait till later, then you can be more thoughtful about what you say and more intentional. And then it's more interesting for the reader, and it might give them something that they actually want to comment on or respond to, which is what makes your post get more traction anyway. So just posting a picture with a superficial caption is
which is what I always did.
Yeah, is kind of pointless when you don't get the engagement that you could get by writing a better caption like next week.
Yeah, and I noticed especially like for Instagram, the picture gets the attention. It's kind of like the cover of a book, but so people will see a cover that's interesting to them, but they want to read the contents. And I used to think that all it was the picture, and the caption was just kind of pointless gibberish. But I'm noticing that if the caption is meaningful, like, it puts so much more value as to what the picture's about and whatnot. So it took me a while, but she got me into trying to really be thoughtful about writing, meaningful content in the captions. Like, not just like, hi, this is what we just did. It's like, what were you feeling about? Like, what kind of emotions came from it? Any history behind it? Any explanation of the intentions behind what was going on, things like that. And it's pretty amazing how much of a difference of interactions we get from that. So what I'll do now is I'll just save all, like, so whenever we are doing activities or shoots or whatnot, Jamie will be taking photos, people attending will be taking photos, and they'll send it to me, and I'll try to remember.
Except when I chicken out because it's Maya Sotero Ing.
Yeah, the other week we were interviewing Obama's sister, Maya Sotero Ing, and I was like telling her before, like, we got to take pictures
You
of this.
didn't tell me that before.
I did.
No, you didn't.
Oh, no, I didn't. That's
you
right.
Didn't.
That's right. I did not, and I wish I did. But we were on the same page of doing it, and then she was about to, and she was scared.
I was thinking about it the whole time, and I was just too scared.
And I noticed that she didn't yet, and I was worried that she would either forget. This is what it was. It wasn't that I told you, but in my head I said, oh, I should at least take the initiative and say, let's take a selfie after the interview. But I forgot, and then I was like, well, hopefully Jamie took the photos as she normally does. And she said she chickened out. It's like, oh man, we missed the perfect opportunity. This would have been so good, because there's so many things that I could have written about with that experience, because it wasn't just like, oh, we interviewed her. It was like there's so many cool little stories and things that we learned that would have been fun for that.
We can still take a picture of the video.
Yeah, that's true. So that's another thing too, is
if you miss it, you can still think of something else.
Yeah. But the thing that I do now is I'll just like store all of these, or I'll kind of have all of these photos and content waiting. And then when that day and morning comes where I go, okay, this is the time that I'm going to do my half hour of social media. And what I'll do first is I will go through my pictures and think of something, see which ones like speak to me. And then I'll be like, oh, this is a good one. I'll post it and I'll write a caption about it. And then I'll go through the feeds and see if there's other things to share or like or comment on and whatnot. But I just kind of devote that small pocket of time. That way it's like, okay, it's done. I don't have to worry about like, where am I going to find the time? It's like I'm used to this once a week time slot that I devote to it. Ideally, I'd want to do it more often, which I'm trying to do more often. But you can just start basic with just one day, 10, 20, 30 minutes in the morning, and that's it. Any thoughts to that?
No.
So the other thing that's really helpful is, like, you may be thinking, like, there's so many posts that I want to do, and we would not suggest, like, you spend that 30 minutes and just post every post for the week at that one time, because you don't want to have multiple posts go out at the same time. But for like Instagram, you can't schedule a post, but there's this great app that we found called Tailwind.
There's a lot.
Oh, you want to talk about this one? Maybe because you found Tailwind.
So there's a bunch of apps that are for scheduling, because everybody says batch and schedule is how you do social media. And so you want to look for the ones that so they all do different platforms. Like some of them will do Instagram and Facebook. Some of them will do only one or different ones. So look for the one that does the one that you, or the platforms that you're focusing on. And then the cost, and the cost is a big range. So we use Tailwind. There's also Meet Edgar Later.
Is that one name?
Do it?
Meet Edgar Later?
Meet Edgar, comma, later, comma, plan, PLANN, comma, Planoli, I think.
Wow.
Hootsuite, I think Buffer does it. There's a ton, and I feel like when I research it the next week, my research is probably outdated because it's always changing. But Look at the ones that have the free trial, but notice how long the free trial lasts, if it's for like 30 posts or like 30 days. And if you need to manage multiple accounts. So there's all kinds of things to be aware of. So you don't start using one and then you're like, oh shoot, it doesn't do this thing that I need.
And don't get see when as she's like listing and rattling off all these different names.
Oh yeah.
Like that itself can be intimidating. We're like, oh,
Sorry.
how am I gonna, determine? So that's the best thing about it is like we went through the same thing when she was researching which ones to go for, and it was getting overwhelming. But she would read reviews or see, like you'd see like what the functions are. But then the key was doing the free trial, and then we actually got to see if it worked for what we were trying to do, and that's when we saw like, hey, this in this case, Tailwind does what we need it to, and it's pretty user friendly for us for our needs. So that's how we found it and liked it. But yeah,
Maybe I would start with later, looking at later, because that's the one that we used before when I was only worrying about one account. But now that we do scheduling on multiple accounts, then I had to look for a new platform. But later was free, as long as I was under a certain amount of stuff. I forget.
and so what are the benefits of you? Like, how does a thing like later work? Because I think for some people this is a totally new concept. So
So you can do your picture and your caption and hashtags, and then schedule it to post later.
So, for instance, if you have, like, say, 4 pictures or 4 different posts that you've got in your mind, and instead of thinking 4 different days throughout the week, I got to remember to post it, which you'll run out of time, you'll forget about it, or the day will come and like, oh shit, I'm too busy today, and you're not going to do it. So with later, if you say Monday at 7 a.m. is the 30 minutes that you've dedicated each week to doing social media management, at 7 a.m. on Monday, you just write out all of your posts, create all of your posts, and put it in later. And later will post them for you on the days and times that you've selected.
I think a lot of people will get worried about like what's the best time and what's the best day. And in general, I would say if you're stressing about just getting posts up, just pick something. But if you're kind of getting into a rhythm, then something like Tailwind will tell you for your audience this is the best time. So they'll give you a recommended schedule.
And the way that I understand Tailwind determines the best time isn't like this worldwide algorithm of like all posts best operate at this time. They base their algorithm off of the statistics of your account. So they'll look at like when you post, what times people are most engaged and things like that. And so it'll take a few posts for it to get really good at figuring it out. Of course, the more posts, the more data it can grab. But that's how, in this case, Tailwind is figuring out the ideal times that would be best for you to post, is because they're basing it off of what they've seen your audience react to. So that's pretty cool. Because I used to, when I first started doing our social media, I would reach out to our social media marketing friends and stuff. And I'd be like, when's the best time to post? And one of them gave me just this generic answer of like, Thursdays at 2 o'clock or something like that. And I was like, all right. And as we learn more, it's like, that's not always the case. Like, cause I would see like, man, sometimes I get nothing out of it. It's not always about the time. Time isn't as important as the content now. Like having a good
it's both
post
important, but I would, because time matters, because some algorithms push your post more if it gets more interaction within a certain time frame after you post it. So that's why timing matters.
Right.
But if you're not at that stage yet and you're just worried about getting started, don't worry about that.
Want to say hello to Laura and Cindy who jumped on too. Didn't want to leave you guys out. Thanks for joining us. Wow, this is the most amount of viewers
It's so
we've had.
creepy that you're saying hi to people and they're not commenting. Like, what if they want to be incognito?
Oh, okay. Sorry. From now on, I will not say hello to you unless you comment.
It's so stalker. I think it's stalker.
Wow. I think it's stalker if you jump on and you don't say anything. right?
But I do that all the time.
And you always say that you're a stalker. You're
because
a Facebook
I'm
ninja.
shy.
Well, I just like to, acknowledge our friends. But okay, somebody gave us a thumbs up, so somebody was cool with it. Whoever you are, thank you. But if you are wondering why I'm not giving you a shout out, it's because Jimmy has told me not to say hello to anyone who does not comment. So that is a new rule here.
I'm so mean.
You know what else? We got another. Somebody must agree that you are mean. The other thing, which is maybe TMI, but so people are also saying like, I don't want to devote time, like work time, to social media. Yeah. So I find that a lot of the time where is the most useful use of my time to work on social media. Now that I say this out loud, this is really, thankfully there are only a handful of people watching this. So only a few of you will know my secret, but now it'll probably affect the way that you read my posts from now on. You're going to be like, oh, this is a great, interesting post. I'm picturing how it is written, and now I'm not so excited about it. But when I'm in the restroom, there's a lot of dead time to kill, and that's the perfect time for me to just catch up on posting.
He has a desk in there.
I wasn't gonna share that part. Now you made it weird.
I take it back.
You can't take it back. We're live. But yeah, I have one of those collapsible desks, and I just, work on my social media stuff in there sometimes. Why are you hiding behind it? You just threw my business out there. I was just explaining, like, you can do with that what you want, but I feel like for some of you, you may be like, oh yeah, I tend to play like, Words with Friends while I'm on the toilet. Instead, maybe I could be like doing my weekly posts for my social media there.
That's how you make time.
That's honestly like the only time really that I feel like I have to post things, because the rest of my day I'm constantly working on stuff like emails or proposals or writing or all that kind of stuff. We're shooting and stuff. Like it doesn't feel like I have a good amount of time to devote to that. But when I'm there, it's like, well, I'm here for this amount of time that I know I can't get up for, so I might as well.
Stop it! Too much.
I hope Brian's here. I hope you're enjoying this, Brian.
That's horrifying. I hope nobody watches this.
Nope. This looks like this is the most amount of viewers we've had in a long time. If you guys, not pertaining to me posting while in the bathroom, but if you have any questions or comments as far as managing social media, especially with the idea of making time. So again, our suggestion is to just make a small window of time and just make it consistent. And it could be as basic as once a week to work on your social media. Batch your content, meaning you don't have to post it as it's happening. Just take the photos or whatnot, and you can put it on in a little folder or Google Drive or something like that, or even just keep it in your photo album, and then go into that at the time that you've allotted to work on social media and write your post then. And then using a software or an app like Later or Tailwind, which allows you to batch all of your posts, like write all your posts in advance, and it'll send them out, schedule out your posts so that you can spread out your posts rather than feel like, oh, I gotta log in at this time to remember to post it. You can just do it all in that one day, in that one moment, and set yourself up for the whole week. Any other tips or suggestions that you might have?
I think content, but we can talk about that in another one.
Because you were doing a lot of social media management for not only us, you also at one time made like an account for Emmett that you're managing. You're doing it for clients and stuff. Was there anything that you noticed that was helpful to you that we didn't talk about yet?
I think just having a set time to do it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will recommend just doing it once a month, but I would find that very stressful
Yeah.
to have enough content for a whole month. But that seems to be a common recommendation, but I don't know.
Oh, you know what else would be good too is sometimes things happen. Let's say you're at yoga or something, and a thought for a post idea pops up, or we're in a discussion in a meeting or something, and something sparks your mind about, oh, this would be a great thing to post on our social. Um, but of course, you don't have time to post it at that time. Just keep a little spreadsheet or a little note on your phone, and just write post ideas there, so that you can like, that's what we do for our live streams. Every week we go through our list of, like, anytime we come up with an idea for a show topic or a question, we put it into this spreadsheet. And so when we're planning out the following week's episode, we just go through all of these ideas that we've already come up with and think, okay, this week, what do we want to talk about? Sometimes none of them are interesting to us and we have to think of a new one, but we at least always have something to fall back on, where it's like, okay, these are all the things that we haven't talked about yet that would be great topics. So same thing for social media posts. It'd be like, hey, these are some ideas that I'd come up with earlier in the week that would be a great post to write about now that I'm on my 7 o'clock Monday morning office run. So that also can really help as well too. All right, well, looks like the silence of our attendees lets me know that maybe I went a little too far explaining my process. But
I would say just don't stress about it, because I think that surprised me when you were talking to people about what their concerns are, or what their issues are. It just seems they're very stressed about social media.
Yeah.
And it should be fun. Like,
and it is.
Yeah.
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 Like I'm right there with you guys. Like, I actually really don't like posting, commenting. Like, I enjoy social media. I enjoy reading things and looking at things, but she'll tell you, like, I hate writing comments on people's posts, and I hate writing the.
You don't even like people's posts.
I'm trying. So it's even for me, like, I don't enjoy like doing it, but when I actually take that 30 minutes and I write it, it actually, like, I actually go like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then I see the interactions that come in and stuff, and I feel like proud. And I'll tell her, like, hey, I wrote a new post. Did you see my new post? Like, I feel very proud about it. So I can tell you from experience that if you're like myself, it can be fun, and it's not. I think we build it up way more in our minds, in anticipation, than it actually in reality is. Because that was the other thing, is a lot of the nonprofits that I talked to, they're like, man, like, they kept talking about, like, one day we can either afford or have the bandwidth to hire on a social media person, but right now we don't have the resources. And it's like, oh, and you don't need to actually have a social media person. Like, you can run it yourself for the way we described it. And you don't have to have, like, the best social media thing. Just something sufficient where it's not a barren wasteland, where, like, if someone's checking out your social media page for the first time to learn more about your organization, and they say, ooh, they haven't posted anything since 2012.
I think the only bad thing that a nonprofit could do would be to only post, like, graphics with asking for donation, like, just posting all, like, what am
like
I?
Advertisements?
Yeah, like that kind of thing. If your social media, if they look at your Instagram and it's all just like, it's not an ad, but like call for donation,
like a call to action.
Yeah, with no pictures, just like graphic, ask. I feel like that's the only bad thing that would make people not come back. But if I looked at a nonprofit and it was all these, like, pictures I don't care that they didn't post in like a year. I would just follow in case they post again.
You know, a great, well, hopefully it's great analogy would be, is like I also always encourage nonprofits to treat their social media like it's a person versus it's an organization. Because when you look at your own personal experience,
as if the nonprofit is a person,
yeah,
not as if the social media is a person.
right? Because if you look at your own experiences on social media, if you are on social media, the thing that she described as far as just having graphics of like asks and stuff is similar to when you get a friend request from somebody. It's a person,
Yeah.
but all they have is like
They're
ads.
just trying to sell you
Yeah,
stuff.
like call me now for the latest
Buy my
deal.
oil.
Yeah, all that stuff. Like you just go, ugh. Like I get a lot of these realtors that I've never heard of. They're not friends, but they have mutual friends, and it's just posts about I can save you money and da da da. Like call me now. It's like, oh, this doesn't sound like a valuable friendship. Like I wouldn't be interested in seeing that pop up on my feed. But when it's a person who happens to be a realtor, but I see that they post pictures with their family or friends, or I see their personality and I go, oh, that's a person that is, you know, interesting to me. I will accept their friend request. Same with an organization. Like if you see that the organization's social media page is interesting,
Yeah.
they'll follow you. And that's when you get like actual relationships. And so that when you do have a meaningful ask, it's not out of left field or it's not like annoying. They're like, oh, they really could use, you know, school supplies for their drive. Like, and I like them. They're honest, good people. I'm going to go and support that. So that's a great point too. Okay. Well, I think that's it then for today. I feel like we gave a lot of good advice. I hope it helps.
I hope so. I don't know. What did we talk about?
Well, I hope the one thing I hope you take away from this is taking away the intimidation and overwhelming feeling of, oh, social media, I can't do it. My hope is that after hearing what we talked about today, it's a lot more realistic to you that I can do that, right? What's so funny?
I can see the delayed video over there. I was sitting here with my tongue out for some reason. I don't know what I was doing.
No one's a bigger fan of themselves than you. I'm such a funny person.
It's not funny. It's weird.
All right. Well, I'm gonna stall while you start to kind of get yourself in place so that you can segue out of here. Yeah, because every time I say goodbye, you go, oh wait. So we'll see you next week. I think we're still on track to doing our usual time, Tuesdays at 12:30 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time.
What's happening next week?
I don't know. We have a pretty busy schedule next week, so there's a chance that we may have to reschedule next week's. But you can always find out when we schedule our stream, because we do it on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So when we schedule it, it shows up in the post. And if you have any suggestions or requests for topics that you'd love to see us talk about in dealing with whether it's fundraising, virtual events, video production, social media, any kind of communication thing, just send it to us. And that's the other thing. Last week I had teased that we're gonna have a special guest of a producer who does like huge like virtual and in-person and hybrid events. And he is on board. So not next week, but I believe the following week we will have him on. He's all the way in the East Coast. So he's going to be joining us during his dinner time for us. So super excited about that. So that won't be this next episode, but the following one. So I just wanted to update you guys about that. But in the meantime, if you want to jump on our mailing list, we have a bi-monthly newsletter, and it's no, that's fine. It's gonna come up on the closing screen, right?
Oh.
So we'll leave the address up when we say goodbye. But thanks for joining us. Really appreciate seeing all these new faces, which I won't name names because you didn't say anything. but I know you're here. But we'll see you next week. Bye.
Oh no. I don't know. I don't have no headphones on. Oh no.
You're talking this whole time.